You are on this very planet that Chukwokika Biama created to his glory. We welcome you to another explosive exposition of the very fraudulent contraption, the very diseased abomination that the British created for the enslavement of the children of light. We have come to destroy. We have come to render asunder. We have come to decimate that very tower of darkness, that very zoological republic, that very cesspit of iniquity and of evil. We have come that the blind may see. We have come that the deaf may hear. We have come that even those who through no fault of theirs, but as a result of having subjected themselves to a very disastrous educational system in the zoo, they have become stupid. Here we have come to enlighten and to educate, without any apologies to anybody, without mincing words, without fear before our enemies, determined and resolute, indestructible, and the precipitous collapse of the zoo is inevitable, absolutely inevitable. The devil may try all it can. Those who go before them to peddle falsehood, those who go to work for them, those who are the workers of darkness and of iniquity, we can assure them that we are resolute, we are determined, and there is nothing anybody can do to stop this very invade as many times as you like, kill as many people as you like, propagate falsehood after falsehood as many times as you like, buy up every media space in the zoo, go and connive with people in the diplomatic circles abroad, eyebrow consultancy firm in the world, select some diplomats in the zoo and bribe them. Select those you send to the key countries around the world. None of these things you're doing is capable of stopping us. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you write. It doesn't matter the type of chatter you have behind our backs. All those things you're doing is a complete and utter waste of time, because Biafra must come. There is nothing anybody can do about it. That is why we preach this gospel. That is why we propagate this very message of redemption. That is why Elohim said that Biafra will come. You will not fire a bullet, but Biafra will come. Because Chukwokika Biama has gone before us. And you will hear what will happen to the zoo in weeks and months to come. This is 1 year, 2020. They will never, ever, ever in their lives forget. It does not matter what the enemy does, is irrelevant. Buy over Twitter, buy over Facebook, bribe the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, bribe the US Ambassador to Nigeria, department in America, buy over Twitter, buy over Facebook, bribe the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, bribe the US Ambassador to Nigeria, go to the State Department in America, issue a eulogy. It does not matter. Let me tell you something that some of you do not understand this evening before I even bother to introduce myself. Biafra is unstoppable. Unstoppable. Because this very movement is guided from heaven. From heaven. If you like, come out tomorrow and write. Over my dead body will Biafra come, and see what will happen to you. Just try it tomorrow morning. This movement will destroy Nigeria completely beyond recognition, beyond every iota of recognition. Everything that you call Nigeria will be evaporated. Everything that you associate with the zoo, Nigeria, will be completely obliterated from the face of the earth. As I speak, you write it down on a piece of paper. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, regardless of where you are domiciled. This very transmission this evening in Biafra land, because for some people it is their morning, for others it is their afternoon, for some others it is their night, or for some it is very early in the morning for them, is being listened to around the whole world. Everywhere there is humanity, the whole world is listening. The entire planet is listening because they know that we speak the truth. We call it the way it is. Man cannot be stronger than God in heaven. That is why we have come, that the kingdom of God may descend down to this very earth, to the very center of the universe. That unapologetically the way that we do. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And by the very special grace of Elohim, I will continue to serve the wonderful people of Biafra until the end of time. Of course, my job is, but I will continue to pray for Biafra ceaselessly. Every blessed day of my life, and 7 times a day, I do that. It will never stop until the day I draw my last breath. What we are involved in is beyond the knowledge of the carnal mind. We are in the spirit. Only if you are in the spirit, I'm sure you will be listening, thinking, oh, what is he talking about? Ours is different from yours. Ours is different from yours. The only closest comparison, the knowledge of, is the very, very holy land of Israel. That is the closest. You cannot understand it. What is propelling this very movement is beyond the comprehension of mere mortals. You have to be in the groove, in the spirit, to understand what we are doing, or else you'll be lost. Of course it is lost. This evening, the time now is exactly 12 minutes past 7 p.m. in the land of Biafra. And the same number of minutes past the top of the hour, regardless of where you are on this very planet. This very threat to the whole of humanity. Mankind, and this very evening, we will render the zoo asunder. Complete decimation, line by line decimation. We are taking down Asorok, brick by brick. They are tampering with our lines once again. I don't understand this. I honestly do not understand what is happening, but we are propagating this very gospel regardless. They are trying the best they can. They are doing the best they can, but they cannot prevail. That I can assure you. Because eventually only the strong can stand. Only the strong is going to stand. And they will bear witness to Biafra. They will testify in this very land of the living that Elohim in heaven, the Lord of hosts, he was with his children in their time, and Biafra came as a physical manifestation that God in heaven has for those that he made. That is what Biafra represents. This evening we preach it. The gospel of redemption, the gospel of heaven. the gospel of heaven, we are unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable this evening. As we tear the zoo apart, we render them asunder. We are going to start, of course, by praying. We must commit all that we do to the hands, very capable hands of Elohim, because we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Hear this very gospel of heaven that we preach. Is inspiration that we got from heaven. And this evening we pray, we must bow our heads in prayer wherever we are. Any day they want us to tell them exactly why we do things the way we do, we shall inform them. But for now, we must pray. Our Lord God in heaven, you deal with the sons of men according to their righteousness, according to the cleanness of their hearts and their minds. That is how you reward your creation. Before we embarked upon this very journey, we knelt and we prayed before your holy temple in Israel, in Jerusalem to be precise. You gave us word from heaven, and you said if we keep to your ways, if we do not turn from you, if we recognize that you are the creator of everything that we see around us, if we confess that there is no other God apart from one indivisible God, that Biafra will come, you will bless this very generation, this very evening, before the congregation of humanity all over the world listening. As we promised you we will do morning, noon, and night, we proclaim your goodness, that there is no other God before thee. We have not turned away from your decrees. We cannot say that we are blameless, for we are flesh. Every flesh always sin against thee, O Heavenly Father. But please have mercy upon us. The land of Biafra is under siege. The enemies are converging from every corner. The workers of iniquity are doing the best they can to derail these very movements that you ordained in heaven. But you asked us to remain very steadfast and very still, never to retreat nor surrender. That we must continue to march on, because what we are doing, mere human beings cannot understand it. Therefore, we have remained faithful to your words. Therefore, we submit ourselves unto thee. Therefore, we beg and we plead, we cry, and we ask that you have mercy upon us and give us Biafra. For we shall keep this very lamp burning. You have turned darkness into light. For through IPOB, through this very radio Biafra, light has come into not only Biafra, but the whole of Africa. For your truth will be preached, and your glory, your love upon our lives manifest in the coming of Biafra. That is why we do not see any enemy. That is why we do not encounter any obstacle that you cannot surmount. That is why every glory and every adoration, that is why every praise and every honor belong to thee and not to any man nor woman. Now and forevermore we pray. He say, heaven is bearing us witness as we preach this evening. And you must listen very carefully. And those of you on Twitter, you must also be prepared to what they call multitasking. You will multitask this evening. We are now going to plant the dynamite underneath Aso Villa. Of course, metaphorically speaking, we are going to plant the dynamite under Aso Villa from tonight. And then at the appointed time, I will press the button. the zoo cannot survive. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter who they consult. It doesn't matter who their native doctor is. It doesn't matter who their babalawo is. It doesn't matter the countries they feel are behind them. One thing is inescapable. The zoo must fall. It must fall because it should not have existed in the first place. And when I said this before, allow me to repeat very clearly to the hearing of those who are discerning enough. When I say that Nigerians are animals, I am referring to everybody that subscribe to the life view that a white man can come from Europe and create a country in Africa, but at the same time, no African can travel to Europe to create a country. I want you to understand the basis of our agitation, why we do what we do. Why anybody who is sensible, anybody who is reasonable, anybody who is discerning enough, anybody that has conscience, there is no way you can refer to yourself as a Nigerian, because as soon as you do that, as soon as you open your mouth to say you are a Nigerian, you have at least, before those who are reasonable enough, those that have shame, a bit of dignity and class, you have reduced yourself to nothing. Because Nigeria was not created by God. I keep saying this all the time. Go and Google it. Who created Nigeria? You will see the name Frederick Lugard. Also go and Google who created USA, who created Canada, who created Germany, who created France, who created Spain. You will see the reason why Africa is backwards. We have no self-esteem because we have no shame. There is no shame before our eyes. We are the ones that belittled ourselves. We are the ones that told the whole world we are animals. We are the ones insulting ourselves by our failure to comprehend, our failure to reason, our failure to understand, and our failure to at least accept that we have the same reasoning capacity or capability like any other race on the face of this very earth. That is why when we preach this very gospel, people must be very, very careful and follow us sequentially. You must be able to follow from the beginning. You must be able to follow from the beginning. You cannot tell me that you see yourself as an equal of a white man, an Asian, a Latino, anybody at all in the world. And you're sitting in your house in your village, and somebody will travel for nearly 4,000 miles, come into your village and say, oh, from today, your name is no longer Ibeku. You're now called Omoaha. I can't understand it. Are you telling me that I can travel to Germany and say to them now, Westphalen should be known as Amokeleke? Is that what you're telling me? Somebody left Europe, came to your land, and saw you watch a very beautiful place, and said now we call it Port Harcourt. And some people are saying it is Port Harcourt, and I'm looking at them, and I'm wondering, what God made you? Don't you have shame? You don't have any shame. Are you telling me that we can travel to England and say we want to create a Port Wike or Port Hamechi? Is that what you're telling me? Or Port India? Is that what you're explaining to me? You want me to believe that you can come to Europe and name a waterway, your name, is that possible? Is that, they will slaughter, in fact they will even say you're not well. They will put injection into your body and dump you in a mental home. Now you understand it, don't you? Do you see why we do what we do? Not that we hate anybody, but anybody that says, I am a Nigerian, believe you me before God and man, that person is not a human being. It means that you are named the same way that anybody will name their dog, the same way that anybody will name a pet that they have. Is that what Ghana changed their name from Gold Coast to Ghana? Open for Water changed their name as well. What is wrong with you people that you cannot reason? It is there in the, go to Google and Google it. How can a man create you? A fellow man create you? Because you're inferior. You are racially inferior because you hate yourself so much that a white man from Europe has to come to give you an identity. That is the basis of every problem in Africa. We did not draw up our own boundaries. Other people did it for us. But the same people that did it for you, they can't allow you to do the same thing for them. Ask yourself this question. Why is that so? Any day you answer that question, any day you get up in the morning and you say, why is it that with engineering department as the nearest university, because there is no university that has no, that you don't have an engineering department in it. Everywhere. I'll give you an example. You know where you have nearly 5 high institutions. FUTO, IMSU, the College of Technology, I think is in Naked somewhere as well. You have Alvan Ikoku, and then you have it used to be called School of Agri-Economy. 5. Listen carefully to what I'm saying, so that people around the world can understand where the stupidity of a black man starts from. It is not the white man that is making Africa poor. It is our stupidity and inability to comprehend, to reason very well. And I'll prove it to you. Every school in and around Imo State has an engineering department. In other words, every university in Nigeria has an engineering department. Now, ask yourself this question. In those universities, they have chemical engineering department. They have civil engineering department. They have, it's called water technology, is it water engineering they call it? They have all these things. Engineering departments. One of them is electricity. But you don't have any electricity anywhere around you. You all use generating sets. Ask yourself that question again. Of what purpose, therefore, is there for all these universities to have a simple common sense, isn't it? I will repeat. Ask yourself that question again. How come, I'm asking you, how come ordinary engineering department in 5 universities within a, should I say, a geographical space of, I would say, about 20 square miles, yet inside that town, there is no running water. Inside that town, people are homeless because civil engineers are not building any houses. Inside that town, there are no passable roads because civil engineers are not building roads. Inside that same town, there is no sewage system. In fact, there is nowhere in the zoo called Nigeria that you have a proper sewage system. What you have is soak away that contaminates the water table. You draw it up with your sumo from your borehole. You drink contaminated water, and when you get sick, you start looking for a pastor. You start paying people to pray for you. Do you see the chain of what I call it? I call it chain of stupidity in us. That chain is what IPOB is breaking. That chain is what Radio Biafra is here to make people understand that your problem lies in your brain, nowhere else. You cannot blame a white man for your problem. We cannot blame the Chinese. We cannot blame the French. Nobody. Our problem is in our brain, the way we reason. That is our problem. That's what we're here to correct. And how do you correct it? You go to the source. What is the source of the problem? The source of the problem is Nigeria, as it is presently constituted. That is the problem. And we are here to render it asunder. How are we going to do that? Sequentially, step by step. Complete demolition. How are we going to? In fact, I was delighted before we came on air this very evening that there are some Yorubas, I'm glad to say, who are still, should I say, very, who have remained very consistent. Let me put it that way. There is a particular Yoruba leader, a Yoruba man. I like him. Him and now, before he used to be Paya Debanjo, and a few others. Now I've added this very man, Professor Akintoye. I want to pronounce it correct. Professor Akintoye. Do you know what he said? You know, one thing about truth is that truth is always constant, it never changes. The thing about truth is it never ever deviates. It is always constant. Always constant. It never deviates. No matter how you try it, it is always there. That is why I like people who are consistent. Not hot in the morning, cold in the evening. Activist in the morning and a pizza in the evening. I don't believe in that. You have to be consistently consistent. Do you know what Professor Akintoye said? I'm reading from Zulu Publications. I'll read this very news for you before I delve into it. The Yoruba World Congress YWC on Monday rubbished the several empathies for Abba Kyari, the late chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari. The body labeled Kyari as Nigeria's de facto president. Exactly what I've been saying. I never knew that there are some Yorubas not only who are thinking what we are thinking, but having the courage. That is the key, is having the courage to stand up to say what needs to be said, as this very professor did. If Abba Kyari, going by what the professor said, is a de facto president, that means you have no president in the first place, or you just have a figurehead or a ceremonial head. That's all you have, which you, of course, you have in Jubril. As Abba Kyari was exercising, they say, oh, but the man is dead, why don't you leave him? The typical black African way of reasoning. That is why we are poor. Any day you think what we are saying through, why don't we have light? Why don't we have running water? Why don't we have hospitals? Why don't we have good schools? Any day you think about this, don't blame anybody, not man. Go back to your brain and ask yourself, am I analyzing these problems properly? Am I contextualizing them properly? Because if you have a problem, as the whole world is doing now, you've identified a virus. It's a cold virus, COVID-19. It attacks the lungs and sometimes the heart. You sit down and begin to ask yourself, how do we deal with this? People talk about vaccine. We give people some care for the time being and then vaccine. That is how people think strategically. The problem with black people is that we do not think strategically. But here on Radio Biafra, in this new land of Biafra we're going into, everybody, not just the leader, everybody must be wise and be able to discern, be able to reason. Let me continue to read out this statement from this Yoruba body. Our position is that Nigeria is being run as a banana republic, a country in which the structure of government depends on the whims and caprices of the leader of the government. Are you following? The Yoruba leader, this is Professor Akintoye, described as outrageous and unacceptable that appointed or not elected, appointed office holders, we are subjected to the absurdity of having to go through the office of the chief of staff to see the president. Complete absurdity, absurd. Because people do not understand the meaning of democratic accountability. The people you hold responsible when something goes wrong are those you voted for. If they don't do what you ask them to do, you vote them out. Do you understand? That is why the president to elect is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. Do you know the reason why? Because if something goes wrong, you hold him responsible. You don't vote for the chief of army staff. You don't vote for the chief of naval staff. You don't vote for the chief of Air Force or whatever they call them. Do you understand why the Greeks said that power belongs to the people? Government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Do you understand the meaning of it? It means that those we are going to hold accountable are those we actually elected. If something goes wrong, we go and grab them. That is why it is wrong. It's not even done anywhere. Only in a banana republic like the zoo called Nigeria that you have somebody saying, I am the chief of, some idiots that went to maybe Adebayo University in Kano, this all these Almajiri universities that have nothing in their brain. They come and say, but it's a powerful position, he is the gateway to the president, he's the gatekeeper. And oh my God. Incredulity overwhelms me. It's absolutely bizarre that somebody can go to a university, come out with a degree, and you're saying that the chief of staff is the gateway, is the gatekeeper to the president, he's powerful. Hey, which lecturer taught you that nonsense? I would like to know the name of the lecturer. I just want to know. Do you see why we call Nigeria a zoo? Now do you begin to understand? I am very, very happy that this Yoruba World Congress, and my only fear is that I hope they remain consistent. Not tomorrow night they start saying something different. Just please be consistent. I beg of you. He went on to say, you are asking a governor that was elected by millions of people, ministers and ambassadors, to go through somebody who was not elected, to the collective embarrassment of the vice president. Yemi Osinbajo no longer exists, and people are moving about as if everything is normal. These are intellectuals, or should I say sophisticated morons, that have no brain. You are in a country where the office of the vice president no longer exists. He's being held hostage. Osinbajo is being held hostage, infected with COVID-19 and being held hostage against his wishes. And nobody is asking. Every idiot is fixated on who's going to be the chief of staff. Chief of staff to the president is only Buhari. How about your vice president? Where is he? Nobody's asking any questions. Because they are in the damnable zoological republic. When we call them a zoo country, they don't understand it. But we call you a zoo country for a reason, and with good reason. A chief of staff is no more than the head of the president's kitchen cabinet. You are not supposed to be seen. Now let me ask you, if you think that what Abakari was doing is good, who was the chief of staff of President Olusegun Obasanjo? Simple. Who was the chief of staff of, Bill Clinton? Chief of staff of Obama, can you remember them? Who is the chief of staff of, or who was chief of staff of Jonathan? Even Yaradua. Do you know? Some of you are now running to Google to go and Google it. No. Tell us. I will then prove to you this evening that even European Union, who have some of them been eating the oil money from Biafra land, being bribed by the Fulani cabal, that they know. I'm going to prove tonight that even EU knows that Buhari is dead. And they kept quiet because of what they're getting. Germany is keeping quiet because Siemens is getting money, free money. They are quiet, of course, because Julius Berger is packing money by a shipload every month and bringing it to Germany. That's why they are quiet. If you're foolish, are you going to blame them? Is it their fault that you're so daft? It's not their fault. It is not the fault of Germany. It is your fault. How many, I keep asking Nigerians, the problems that they never answer the question. How many, somebody please Google it for me and tell the whole world. How many civil engineering departments do you have in Nigeria? That's number one question. Two, how many civil engineering professors that are only good at rigging election for illiterates? Look at somebody wearing a gown, done it as a dawn, reading out election result for somebody without WAEC certificate. Can you believe such nonsense? And tomorrow you'll be complaining, oh, we don't have light, oh, heat is killing us, there is no one in this country, who did we offend? Can you imagine how you're reasoning? You offended yourself. Your brain offended the rest of your body because your brain failed to engage with reason. That's all. You didn't offend anybody. Your brain failed to engage with reason. That's all. That's who you offended. Your brain offended the rest of your body because you are not able to reason and think properly. I am grateful to this Yoruba group so that people can no longer come around and say, oh, Nnamdi Kanu, every time he's talking, he's... The people saying that Nnamdi Kanu is always talking all the time. You know, I love criticism. I love it very much. I love it. Heaven knows. I love it. You're talking already. But you go to listen to fraudulent pastors, don't you? No, you go on Monday. You attend a service on Sunday. You sow seed. On Monday, you go for Shiloh. You water it. On Wednesday, you go for Tarry night. You weed it. On Wednesday, you go for plant watch night to watch it grow. Until another Saturday, you pay your tithe. Every blessed day. Some of you have been doing this thing for nearly 40, 50 years. You're not tired of your pastor. You're tired of the people that are trying to bring you out of your own self-inflicted, self-induced stupidity into the light for you to have brain. Now tell me who is stupid. All your pastors that are frying their hair, rubbing bleaching cream, you've not seen them. Every Sunday you listen to them. Every Sunday, every week, they're on television. They're in the pulpit talking rubbish. Absolute gibberish. That's why I like Bishop Koke of Sokoto. For many years, all of you speaking in tongues, talking jazz, claiming you're speaking in tongues. Send the Bible. That's how you know them. Idiots. You can't listen. You're speaking in tongues. You're not tired of listening to the baboon speaking in tongues. You're tired of listening. They're typical black people. They never, when they see the light, they fall inside bush. They see the road, they say, no, bush is better for us. They see light, they say, no, we prefer darkness. I've not even started. And you think if you say it, I will stop. Hey, you're talking too much. When is this your Biafra coming again? And I read a very funny comment today on my page. Somebody asked the person, why don't you ask yourself when you stop flushing the toilet with bucket and use the WC instead? Is to be asking Nnamdi Kanu, when is this your thing? When are you going to see it? I'm asking you, when are you going to stop using generator? Like every other civilized people do. When will you stop using generator? When will you stop drinking water from borehole? You can't answer. But you want me to answer you. You see how daft they are. That's why I said I sometimes I wish and I pray that they engage me in a debate openly so I can decimate them. I am grateful to Professor Akintoye and also a man called Adeyemi Adeleye, the Director of Communications. I thank them for raising this very issue because the rest of the zoo, they kept thinking maybe there is something wrong with IPOB, there is something wrong with Nnamdi Kanu. The world can now say that the zoo called Nigeria is not a banana republic for nothing. The people inside it, they don't reason very well. They are not critical of themselves. A chief of staff is a mere political appointee, not elected by the people. Not elected by the people. That's something you must know. So he has no constitutional position. He has no position. There is no position in your constitution that says somebody has to be a de facto president. It's just because they don't want to lose power. We lost out during Yaradua, and now you gave us Buhari again. We no go agree, we no go agree. That's all. Atiku knows what is happening. Who in Nigeria doesn't know that Buhari is dead? They all know, even the EU. And I'll prove it later on. They all know. Why are they not doing something about it? Because they realize there is a saying where we come from, which means when the country is very bad, it's only the cabal will be enjoying. If you talk too much from Europe, they'll call it to one side and they will put $1 million in your account. You're a civil servant in EU, you've not seen money before. 1 million from a few monkeys in Africa. Why won't you be having fun? I said it the last time. That is what is happening. Someone says, these are the diplomats. They are from UNESCO. They are from World Health. He's an American ambassador. Some of them are very corrupt. Look at the American ambassador that is not corrupt. John Campbell. Go and check. He's been banned from entering into Nigeria. Some people said, oh, but John Campbell was corrupt. I said to them, if he is, the zoo would have released his data. He was banned from entering Nigeria. Ambassador John Campbell, former US ambassador to the zoo called Nigeria. Anytime somebody is in good terms with something that is evil, a decaying, corrupt government, you know there's something wrong with that very person. That is why when you see people that speak the truth, men of honor that speak the truth, they are always consistent. They never change. They never change. If you like them, oh, fine. You hate them, oh, that is your business. But they are always on it, because eventually posterity will judge you. We are not here to make. We are not in Biafra to make friends. It's just to get Biafra and to let Africans understand that there is a way you can reason. And that qualifies you as a human being. Any other way, you're a bushmeat. I'm grateful to this very group, this very Yoruba group, for actually standing up and speaking out. I commend them immensely. Abba Kyari was buried a few days ago. There are some people in the zoo called Nigeria that keep saying, oh, but Buhari is there. Is Buhari to decide? They know there is no Buhari, but they keep saying it. Because if they keep saying it over and over again, the gullible will just absorb it. And I want people to understand the reason why. I said it before, allow me to elaborate today. The reason why this very issue of Jubril is not making the wave it's supposed to make is very simple. Just like Africa is held down, that is how they are holding us down. They don't want the truth to prevail. People have their own tiny agenda as to why they should sit and suppress the truth. All of them in this, all of them, they pretend they love you, but they don't. I've said it many, many times. I am praying and hoping that people like this very Yoruba World Congress and the likes of Professor Kinte and Adelaide, they will come out more to speak the truth, as Paya Debanja has been doing, to consistently, without change, to speak the truth consistently. People don't want Biafra to be free. Those that the British brought, a very clever job they did. Do you know how I know these things? Go and look at they tell you, oh, Nigeria has 250 tribes. I was going through it a few days ago. Do you know what I discovered? They said that Eche is a tribe. They said that Ebema is a different tribe from Igbo. It's written officially, and that is what they have, all over the world. In diplomatic circles, that Nigeria has 250 tribes, it's very difficult, and in that very 250 tribes, there is a subgroup called the Ebema people. Do you know about a group called Ebema before? Eche, ordinary Eche is Igbo land. Let me tell people what they don't know. There is Afara in Eche. Afara, where I come from. The same way we are in Mbitolu, in Imo State, the same way we are in Anambra, in Abagana, the same way we are all the way from the source, which is Anambra, to the sea. Afara is everywhere, where I come from. There is Afara in Eche. Somebody sat in their office in Lagos, probably filled with self-hate and tribalism, decided, the best thing for us to do, let's divide these people, let's say that Eboma is a tribe. And they submitted these documents to diplomats all over the world. You go to a diplomat and you say to them, but please now, my people we are from Eboma. Isn't it? Oh no, there's another people called Eboma. Can you believe such rubbish? That is the bastardization, not just of your essence as a human being, but of your way of life, of your being. You as a human being destroyed and reduced to nothing. That is what they do. That is what they have done. And that is what they will continue to do. There is no game they will not play. There is no game they will not play to try to debase what we are doing. But they know how resolute we are. Are we going to stop? The answer is no. So why are you wasting your time? We are beyond frustration. For everybody that goes for Facebook as well, we are beyond you can't now. Tomorrow, if I have it, I'll still come back to broadcast. I will. What are you going to do to stop us? Absolutely nothing. It is now to the understanding of everybody that there is no Buhari in Aso Rock. I told you before this whole thing started to unfold that dummy they have wearing Buhari mask in Aso Rock cannot speak. That was what I said. In my 3 broadcasts ago, I said it live on air. No matter what you do, The dummy in Aso Rock will not talk. All he does is every morning, if there's a meeting to be held, now that there's no Champions League football, he will put on his face mask. He'll be waving at the camera. Femi Adesina's crew will be filming him, waving at the camera, smiling. He's wearing a hyper-reality Buhari face mask. And I told you he cannot speak. If this man, how can a whole EU speak? EU speak. How come the man inside that rock you claim is Buhari? How come he's not talking? How come just to come out on television and say, oh, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Abba Kyari just passed. I condole with the family. He cannot say it. Because I said it before. The other one is trapped in Cuba. I said it many, many times. There were some people saying, I remember they wanted to get him to speak on Monday. Today is Monday, isn't it? Yes, today. Go and check it in Premium Times newspaper. Once they know that IPOB have seen it, and they withdrew it, go to Premium Times and type it in Buhari to address Nigerians on 20th. It is no longer there. They removed it. Why did they remove it? Because they know I'm coming on air. You speak, and I'll come and I will destroy this room. I will tear you apart. Go and do broadcast. Let's see. That thing inside us wrong. Go and do broadcast now. Go and do broadcast. Let's see you. When some cockroaches we are saying, oh, but he's in Lagos in a military hospital, and I look at those tramps.